There are so many things about Replaced that deserve to be lauded. Its side-scrolling action that blends Little Nightmares-style stealth sections with brutal old boy-inspired fight scenes, its neon-infused cyberpunk landscapes mixed with its crumbling gang-filled industrial areas, its flying cars and the corrupt corporation that leads the game's dystopian world. If you've been paying attention to Replaced since it was announced in 2021, you will of course know about all of these things already. They're in the trailers, but after going hands-on with a demo of the first few hours of the game, it's very satisfying to say that Replaced plays just as good as it looks, which is very good indeed. What you won't find in those trailers, however, and what doesn't come across in the snippets of gameplay that you've seen before you started this preview, is the sheer amount of heart there is to be found in Replaced's cruel dystopian world. For those new to the game, Replaced is a 2.5D retro-futuristic sci-fi platformer set in an alternate 1980s America. This America has been scarred by a nuclear catastrophe, and now humanity is split. On one side there is the corrupt Phoenix Corporation, which is holed up behind the walls of Phoenix City. On the other side, there are those considered disposable, who live in shanty-like towns beyond the walls of Phoenix City. Mixed into this is a gang known as the Termites, a nasty underground-dwelling bunch who hunt for humans for sport. And when an artificial intelligence known as Reach gets trapped inside his human operator's body at the transplantology department, he soon discovers the harsh world that lies beyond the walls of Phoenix City. Reach, then, is a fascinating character. He only knows what has been taught to him by his operator, and at the beginning of the game, there is an almost childish naivety to him. He just wants to protect his operator's body, and doesn't fully understand why the PCPD, aka the Phoenix City Police Department, are hostile towards him. So he runs for his life into a world that he does not know. At one point, Reach comments that he thought those on the other side of the wall would be provided with the necessities to survive. But this place is ruined, he says. The level of human aggression does not correlate with the data I have, he adds later. Thankfully, Reach is soon saved from aggressive termites and derelict ruins by Tempest, a rock star of a soul who takes him back to the relative safeness of Prospero, a place that continues the Shakespeare-inspired naming scheme that seems to run through the game. Prospero is, despite its very humble offerings, full of life, and while there is a deep sadness here, there is also hope. There are those who genuinely want to help others and do good. While much of these interactions could be missed, judging by the demo we played, Replaced actually has a healthy dose of side quests that help build up this world if you take the time to chat with those around you, something that is highly advisable if you want to get the most out of the game. One highlight in the demo was helping a young girl to restore an arcade machine, which then unlocks a minigame within Replaced called Donor Rush. It's a touch macabre, as it sends you out to collect bodies from the streets in order to use their organs to heal another patient, but it's also kind of delightful, with gameplay that felt reminiscent of Ghostbusters on the ZX Spectrum. If nothing else, it certainly added a new layer of depth to a game that initially looks to be a fairly straightforward action-based side-scroller. There are also those in Prospero who have been dealt a very rough hand in life. Very rough. And yet, they weren't sitting around feeling sorry for themselves. They were out there serving others in any way they could, eliciting story beats that have the potential to leave you with a lump in your throat. Sad Cat, the game's developer, has, based on the short time spent with Replaced, completely surpassed expectations with the way it marries dystopia with heartfelt characterization. And there are some standout characters to interact with too. From the no-nonsense matriarch of Prospero, known as, well, Matriarch, to the rather eclectic bona fide tech wizard Yo-Yo, and the stern but kind Ironwood. Oh, and there's also a dog called Excalibur too, so definite bonus points for that. Meanwhile, there are numerous collectible documents and the like to find littered throughout Replaced. Some of these are more playful, like a board game box, while others will genuinely tug at your heartstrings, like an eviction notice or melancholic diary entry. Sad Cat really has crammed this world with an incredible amount of detail. And speaking of detail, its set pieces are eye-wateringly gorgeous. Not stopping in your tracks to look around and absorb the visuals is an impossibility here. The environments, rendered in glorious pixel art, are so dynamic, with trees blowing in the breeze, birds chirping while soaring overhead, sun dappling across the leaf-coloured ground, dilapidated billboards hinting at a once prosperous past, graffiti-covered walls, and so much more. It is quite something to behold, and it's undeniably one of the best-looking games of its type. Your time in Prospero won't all be about making friends and fixing arcade cabinets and looking at the gorgeous scenery though. During our time with the demo, we also went up against the corrupt Phoenix City Police Department, as well as various members of the Termite Gang, and we had to use variations of speed, force, and stealth to progress. Running is a great option for survival, especially at the start of the game where Reach has to flee from raining gunfire, jumping over fences and logs in order to escape from the city itself into the surrounding woodlands. The animations here, as a sprinting Reach vaulted over objects, were fluid and slick, and while this initial section was exhilarating, it did feel like it perhaps went on a little too long. That is, until Reach ran into a rather burly cop who wanted his guts for garters. Here, Reach learns to counterattack and dodge, with some classic indicators. Counter when little yellow lightning bolts appear above an enemy's head, dodge when it's a red one. A little later, Reach gets a gun, and while he's initially not able to fire it due to a built-in biolock, he can use it like a baton, or, bringing back the aforementioned old boy inspiration from earlier, a hammer, which is especially handy when surrounded by the members of the Termite Gang. As slick as it looks, there is the worry at first that this style of gameplay may get a tad samey, but thankfully later into the demo, Yo-Yo helps you unlock the ability to fire the gun. It's no machine gun though, and it needs to be charged up with energy before it can be fired, something that is done by hitting and countering enemy attacks. This leads to a delicious dance between melee combat and blasting, the explosive force of a fully charged gun acting like an uppercut at the end of a successful combo. As for those you fight, in our demo they ranged from some fairly basic termite goons to the much sturdier tank termites. Some enemies have their own guns too, which means you need to keep an eye on what everyone else is doing during the brawls. Tunnel vision too much onto your immediate targets and you'll likely miss someone about to take a shot from the exterior, which will necessitate the use of any medical stims that you might have found in your previous searches. The third and final tool in Reach's arsenal is stealth, and this is something that has to be used in one set piece in particular that involved a patrolling termite car, which housed a searchlight and a very accurate termite sniper. Ducking behind crates, scrabbling up walls, and pouring yourself through windows can be quite challenging when the beam of light from the car brings you instant death in the form of a spear to the face. Just like Little Nightmare's insta-kill stealth sections, it can take several attempts to learn the right pattern to make it through, which, based on your patience levels, could end up becoming rather frustrating after multiple fails. That being said, our initial expectations based on Replaced's trailers have far and away been surpassed. There are still a few things that are not perfect, of course, including lots of yellow paint guide markers that can be a little distracting, and, throughout the demo at least, a distinct lack of enemy variety. Despite these minor criticisms, though, Replaced has the potential to be something very special. The brutality and the relevance of its dystopian setting is plain for all to see, as too are the game's stunning visuals. But it's the story of Reach, what he makes of the world, and the emotions that this will elicit that promises to make Replaced much more than just a simple action game. Thank you so much for watching this preview of Replaced. As always, please do give it a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to us here at Eurogamer for almost daily videos about video games. Goodbye.
Time is to come yet to become